Hey, how's it going? Brian here from RVwithtito.com, and today I want to share with you something fairly new from WeBoost. This is just released in late July 2019. It's a new mobile cell signal booster package specifically for RV owners, and it's called the DRIVE X RV. Now this is a direct replacement for the DRIVE 4GX RV that came out a few years ago, and a lot of us have been using. So what's new, what's different, what's improved about the DRIVE X RV? Well, let's find out. Well, first of all, having a mobile signal booster in your RV can really benefit you and maximize your ability to get a decent cellular signal in your RV, especially if you enjoy a lot of boondocking in remote areas and you've already encountered situations where you don't have any usable signal. But it's not necessarily required equipment for everybody. These are expensive. If you are a full-time RVer or you do a lot of work on the road and you rely on having a solid signal to do your work, to connect to the internet, then it can be a really useful piece of equipment to have. Now, we've been using one for many years, as I know a lot of other RVers have been as well, and we've been really happy with the WeBoost line of products, including the DRIVE 4GX RV that we've had installed for a while. And that brings me to my first point to make about this DRIVE X package, is that the DRIVE X really isn't a new booster. So there really isn't new technology in here as part of this package. It's basically a rebranded DRIVE 4GX. So I have a DRIVE 4GX here. You can see the difference. Not a whole lot of difference, right? The only difference actually is in the branding. This is DRIVE X. This is DRIVE 4GX. So they've rebranded this and provided some additional options, additional components in this kit. So all of the characteristics of the DRIVE X booster here are really going to be the same as the DRIVE 4GX, which I've reviewed quite a bit in the past. They've been out for a few years and they're quite popular and effective for RV owners. But to sum it up, it's a 50 decibel gain booster, so maximum 50 dB of boost, and you can have multiple people connected to it at once with multiple devices. And it's a mobile signal booster, so you can use it while you're on the road or while parked. Now, what's different about this package then? It really boils down to the external antenna, which they've included. Instead of the old antenna, is this different antenna. Now, if you're familiar with WeBoost products, you know that this is the OTR antenna, which is the trucker antenna, designed for the trucker kit. It's a really good antenna, which is why I believe they added it to this package over the original omni-directional antenna, which is this one here. I've been using this one for years. It works really well too. But I know a lot of RVers have switched to the OTR antenna because they claim it gives them a better signal over the other one, and it's just an improvement. So now it's part of the RV kit as well. This DRIVE X RV kit is kind of a hybrid between the original DRIVE 4GX RV and the DRIVE 4GX OTR. So it's kind of a hybrid kit that they're now combining together. Now, they've also thrown in some accessories like this extension rod and this spring mount. So you could you basically have a choice now whether you can mount this directly to the spring mount, and it gives you about that much height, or you could add an additional length on it like this much to here, and you get that extended height, which is going to be better for you, because the higher you can get that external antenna, the better chance you're going to be able to access that tower and get a better signal without any interference. So that's a pretty nice addition to this package, and it also has a really solid really heavy-duty bracket. The other one is kind of a thinner aluminum, lightweight one, but this is a really heavy-duty mounting bracket for the antenna. And I'll show you, how I can mount it to the ladder on my RV, which is how most people mount these things unless you want to do a more permanent mount on the roof of your RV. Now for the internal antenna, it's the same as the Drive 4G X RV. It's this desktop tabletop antenna that sits on a table, and we just position this really close to our phone that we use as a hotspot, so it works pretty well. It's a little different from the trucker, the OTR model, which has the candy bar, the really thin one that's designed to be mounted to the dash. WeBoost has always been pretty good about giving you everything you need to install this package in an RV. Zip ties, some cable anchors, a side gland, I guess this is. So if you wanted to drill a hole into the side of your RV and run the cable in that way, you get this gland. And I noticed this lately with some of the kits is now they're also including a hole saw, so a hole bit, if you wanted to use this to drill a hole for this gland. Now I don't have it installed that way. I don't want to drill a hole directly in the side of my RV for that, but if you did, this is what the hole saw is for. It even has a little spring in there. So even if you don't end up using this, at least you end up with a nice hole saw to add to your toolbox. You get a hardwired adapter if you wanted to basically hardwire it directly to a 12-volt source, and it's going to give you, I think, a 5 or 6 volt output that is going to plug directly into your the booster itself. And if you wanted to plug it into an AC, 120 volt AC plug, you have that option too. They throw in one of these adapters as well, so it's your choice. They throw in a bunch of cable to use. This one is to connect the external antenna to the booster, and it has smaller connectors now. So these are SMA connectors. They're not the F-type, which is your standard kind of a TV cable coax size. This is the SMA, so they're a little bit smaller. For the internal antenna, you get plenty of length, and it's also an SMA connector, which is pretty small. Let me get this antenna assembled, and then we'll give it a try out in the RV. I got this spring base. I'm going to just thread it to the end of the extension rod. And the cool thing about this is that it's this hollow, so the cable goes right down the middle. So we'll take the end of the cable, fish it in to the end of the extension rod until it pops out the side here. I'm just going to spin it. I get it. There it is. Right there. So there it is, popped right out the bottom. And then I can just slide this down and thread it onto the end of the antenna. It's kind of like a silencer on a sniper rifle or something. It's like, yeah. All right, so there we go. Got the antenna ready to go. All right, to be fair, I went ahead and removed the extension rod just so, when I do a comparison between the old antenna and the new OTR antenna, it's at approximately the same height. And I've also had to put a little adapter here on the end of the OTR cable, and this is an SMA to F-type adapter because I'm going to use my existing cable that I have set up for this antenna, which happens to be the standard kind of coax TV type F-type connector is what it's called. So yeah, pretty cool. I thought I'd just kind of mount them together at a 90-degree angle, so I'll be able to kind of rotate it and switch from one antenna to the next. So let's go set up the booster. Well, I've gone ahead and installed the booster here, and this is where I typically put it because I already have cables run here and power. So it's pretty easy to set this stuff up. The hard part is figuring out where you want to put it and be able to access a power connection. But yeah, just hook up the internal antenna here, the external antenna screws in here, and the power plug plugs in here. And we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the phone real quick and test the signal level just to see where I'm at before I do any kind of boosting. Okay, I'm located pretty close to the internal antenna, which is right here, and I'm just going to leave this open. This is an app called Network Cell Info Lite, good for testing this stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and just lean it right up against there. You can see right now I am at negative 107 dB, which is not a good signal, and it's typical for where I'm at here at home. And let me go ahead and power on the booster, and we'll see that change. All right, so it went ahead and flipped immediately to negative 76, negative 77 dB. So that's almost a 30 dB gain, which is pretty good right off the bat. Now this is using the original 4GX RV omnidirectional antenna. So we're already starting out with a really good signal boost just using the old antenna that came with the Drive 4GX RV kit. Now according to the instructions here, anything over a 20 dB boost is over 100 times better than you were getting before. So you can see really how significant that is, using a booster. Now we were getting almost 30 dB. So let's go ahead and switch to the new OTR antenna that came with the Drive X kit and see if that's any different. Okay, so you can see with the new OTR antenna, the improvement was just a little bit, so it increased the gain by about, I don't know, 3 or 4 dB, went all the way down to say 70 or so. Now that tends to fluctuate a little bit, but it seemed to be a little bit better than the original antenna. So both of them give you a great boost. The OTR maybe a little bit better in this particular situation and conditions. It's really hard to test this stuff. So let's try one more test. I'm going to go ahead and raise the antenna up using the extension rod, and then we'll do just one last comparison to see if that makes a difference. Okay, let's give this another try with the extension rod on there. Already starting out with a pretty bad signal, negative 111 or so. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Alright, and so from a negative 111 to negative 75, that's over 30 dB of a boost right now, and it's dropping. Let me switch it to airplane mode. That's usually the best way to kind of reset everything. Okay. All right, so now I jump down to negative 63, which is pretty darn awesome. So when I switch it to airplane mode and back, it forced it to kind of acquire a different signal, mobile signal. So that's a good way to reset it. Well, you may have noticed that the antenna mount that I used when I did this test is actually something that I built that's pretty much custom for my RV. If you're interested in seeing how I did that and how I mount my antennas, I'll drop a link to another video that kind of walks you through that whole process. But the hardware that comes with the Drive X kit for mounting this particular OTR antenna is actually designed to mount to any sort of pole. Typically folks will use their RV ladder and mount it to that. It's pretty easy to do that, and you just figure out how to run the cable into your RV. Now if you're interested in picking up one of these or any WeBoost product, check the description below. I'll provide more information there where you can save a few bucks. But if you have any questions, any further questions that I didn't answer in this video, I know I kind of breezed over a few things, drop them in the comments section below and I'll get those answered for you. I hope this was helpful. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.